I've dealt with Bob a lot, so you're the unknown
Okay.
in the midst of this to me.
Yes.
I know you're not unknown to the around the county, but I don't know that we've ever met or. So why don't you start and sort of give me the 2-minute why you want to do this, you know, and more than just you want to serve, but what do you bring to this?
Well, I have served the people of Contra Costa for the past 70 years. And I've served our country in the Navy for 18 years, I'm a veteran. And I've seen and talked to the residents of Contra Costa, and every time I talk to voters, and the employees, the staff, the county employees, they always seem to be having issues with the office.
You're gonna have to speak a little louder for me to hear.
Yeah, I had a cold, so I get maybe I get my the fan. Okay, yeah, I'll try to speak louder. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, and I feel that I can bring something to the table. I got the qualification for the office. I have more than 28 years of fiscal management experience, and 17 of which are with the county. I worked for San Mateo County also, non-profit, ADRA, community, and other services. So I see the need to bring in a wide scope of expertise and best practice experience. And the morale at the department is very low, and there is very high turnover of employee, and people are always complaining they're not well treated, and there have been issues there. And I believe even most recently a union had to intervene for corrective action to be taken. And from working with the department, I work with the health services, the largest department of the county. I worked in collaboration with other fiscal agencies from other counties to get more than $300 million of additional funding to support behavioral health services for the county, for the much needed services for the residents of the county.
Well, let me back you up. What exactly do you do for the county?
I am an accountant for the health services department. I oversee the behavioral health budgets and financial reporting and projections analysis, and so in that capacity I work with other fiscal officers from other counties, and we meet usually once a month in Sacramento and collaborate and talk about policy. And in that collaboration we manage to streamline the funding and increase funding to the counties, and get rid of non-functional departments in the state
So
department.
what made you decide you wanted to run? I mean, okay, there's a jump between being an accountant and being the county auditor. I'm not sure I'm seeing okay, so you got a financial background, but help me understand, what is it about this office,
So because of what I've been doing, I've done auditing for the agency and done clinics, review audits and done reviews, and I've seen how there's a lot of waste in other departments. So there is not enough audits being performed by the department as mandated by the state code. And so I can bring changes. As I said, I need to be able to reduce waste, count waste, a lot of taxpayers' dollars being wasted. I will put more audits into practice, and I will improve the working conditions in that department. The morale is very low. The workers are not well treated. So if you have happy workers, there is productivity go up. So that's in the service to the citizens of the county. And then, of course, I got the training and experience required for the job.
Okay, Bob?
Well, I have over 26 years of permanent experience in the Office of the Auditor-Controller. I've worked in just about every one of the divisions. The last 10 years I've worked and managed a couple of the primary divisions. One is the payroll division, and the other one is the property tax division. At one point I managed both of them, and this is my 4th year as being the Auditor-Controller. I feel like I have the experience and the background and the knowledge of the office operations to perform the duties that are necessary for the Office of the Auditor-Controller. The office is much more than an accounting office. Obviously, we do the accounting, we do the auditing, compliance audits for the various departments within the scope of the budget that we're allowed for that. But also one of the key things that our office does is responsible for the property tax distribution. And this is a unique area that most people don't have any experience in. And generally, people who haven't spent a significant amount of time working in this area don't understand the complexities that are associated with it. And I feel that I bring that unique experience, background, and knowledge to the office. And I do feel like I have a relationship with the other departments that is necessary to effectively operate the office. I feel like I have a connection with the staff so that they can perform their duties, but I also feel like I have a connection and a responsibility to the citizens to make sure that we are performing our services and our duties to their expectations.
Or there seems to be some implicit suggestion that there's a morale problem that is, I mean, that's the only issue that I'm hearing here. That somehow has to do with Bob's management in some way. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, that's one of the issues, but there are other issues. From talking to the voters, the auditor's office is supposed to be able to provide information to the public and treat the public with respect and not hide any information. But there is not much transparency in that department. So
Why do you say that?
I like to bring out more transparency. For example, let's say in your tax bill. So if you look at your tax bill, you see all the voter-approved taxes are listed. The small amounts are all listed, itemized. But then you see the 1%, one big amount. There's no breakdown. Every voter I've talked to, they want to see where is that 1%. What agencies are getting my money? I want to see where that. So that's one of the changes I'm going to bring. I'll let the voters know exactly where the 1% is going, what agencies is getting the money in dollars, so they can hold them accountable. You can go to the auditor's website on my web page if I'm elected. They just put in their address and boom, all the information is there, how much for each agency.
Well, okay, but you skipped over, and I like to be real clear,
Yes.
just to make sure that I don't like to have situations where there are implicit accusations.
What?
You know, if you're sort of leveling some sort of charge here, let's be real clear, what is it?
Okay, well, actually, from talking to the staff and actually other departments, when the departments deal with the auditors controls, they complain, they talk about not being well treated, they not being responsive to their concerns, and the staff themselves.
I gotta tell you, I deal with that office a lot.
Yes,
It's one of the most responsive offices I've dealt with.
yes.
So, I need some more specifics.
Okay,
You know,
as I was saying,
before I can take this,
right,
you know, I mean,
absolutely.
rather than just sort of this innuendo.
Absolutely.
Okay?
So I could go to specific cases, but some of it I don't want to go into specifics because you can find out you can find out if there are issues there, and he can testify to that effect. There have been issues where the unions had to come in and intervene. He can testify to that, and then from talking to the staff, he can tell you if he has done climate control, how well are the staff certified with the working conditions?
Well,
How are they treated?
there are two issues here.
Yes.
There are three issues here, and let's see if we understand this. One is Bob, sorry, you know, treating employees, are they any more dissatisfied there than frankly in any other county department right now, in a situation where money's tight, questions about pensions, questions about things. Is there some unusual problem in the auditor's office that's different from, say, in health services?
Yes,
There is?
yes.
Okay.
So as I was saying, so Bob is my friend. I've worked with him. He has worked with the health services. He worked with us, the services department. We trained him, and then he went back to the auditor's office to continue working there. I don't think he has personality issues with the staff, but he has people in management who report to him who mistreat personnel, and that is known county-wide to all the departments because they complain, they call. The employees call. He can call any employee. Can tell you are they satisfied, but he has not done enough to control that. He has not done enough to make sure his staff is taken care of. And you can also testify that the town of everybody, a lot of staff there, they want to get out of the department. A lot of people in health services, there's some people who have come there and other departments who have left the department, but they are kind of, it's unlikely that you find people trying to go to the auditor's office
Okay.
because of that.
So,
You can,
tell you what,
yes.
if you've got some specifics of people who wanna come talk to me, my phone's available. But right now, we've got sort of this stuff out in
Okay.
the clouds, okay?
So right now, I agree. You can just strike that line out. So let's assume it doesn't exist since you want to go into details. So and then we can address
Well,
that.
I don't
another
have
day.
any substance to it
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
right
Just
now.
we
okay?
can leave it unless you want to talk about it. If
Well,
if you
I don't
want.
have any substance here for him to talk about. But, I mean, Bobby, I'm gonna let you talk about it. If you wanna talk about it, I'm not sure what the substance is right now.
Can you say if there's any
Well,
substance?
I mean, it sounds like you're saying that some of his managers are irritating some of their people. That's not, I haven't heard, nobody's called us and told us about it. I'm not doubting that there may be some disgruntled employees. I gotta tell you, that disgruntled employees probably in every county department. I hear from them fairly frequently. So if you've got some real substantive pattern, I'm open to it.
Okay.
That said, now let's go to the transparency thing.
Okay.
Intriguing idea. I mean, the property tax split up online. I mean, generally, that's available for the county-wide. But how would you do that by parcel?
Yeah, because it's available because you can just put the computation in there. You can do it. It's like it's user friendly, so it's interactive, which can be put in the software because all the information is there and all the formulas are there. All the guidelines on how that information is computed is there. Now, if a voter went to the website, you go to the website, they're gonna ask you for the tax rate area, and then the voter has to go find out what the tax rate area, and then find these percentages. Like, okay, 13% the county. This, so I mean, it's all you see there is just percentages. But what I'm trying to do is I'm gonna make it possible that the resident or whoever puts an address there will see exactly in dollars, actual dollars. That's what I've been talking to the voters. They would like to see that.
Intriguing idea.
And at this point, I'm going to ask you, what's the question?
What's the question? Well, first I want to let you have a chance to respond, and then,
Okay.
there are kind of two issues out there.
In responding to the morale of the office, I would say that the morale over the last few years of the county has been down in general. I think what Mr. Rionde is referring to is that I believe our office holds staff accountable to the responsibilities that they're assigned, as is assigned within their job classifications. And if people, individuals, are not meeting those requirements, we do report that in their evaluations, and we deal with them appropriately. I think that's what the taxpayers deserve in terms of how we deal with their staff. He says that there's certain managers in my office that act a certain way. I would say that the managers of my office, report to me, and that if I felt that they were acting inappropriate, I would talk to them about that. However, requiring staff to perform at their level and holding them accountable by putting that in their evaluation, I think is appropriate.
Okay, and his idea on the 1% split?
That would be great if it was as simple as he explains it. Property tax is not apportioned out based on the tax rate area increment allocation factors that we put out on the website. We put that out there as a general idea on how growth is allocated. Now, we do have some disclosure that goes along with that information, but that is not how it's apportioned out to the different jurisdictions. We have what's called the county-wide apportionment factors, and that takes into account all the jurisdictions that receive 1% property tax in the county. And that's our starting point. We multiply that by the amount of tax that's actually on the tax roll, and that gets apportioned out. And then there's a number of adjustments that come in after that. Obviously, we still have redevelopment through the successor agencies, and we have a variety of other laws that require us to shift property taxes around. So it's not as simple as looking at your tax bill and applying the factors that show in the tax rate area. And if that was something that we could do, I would want to go through and do that. We are working with Assembly Member Ting currently through the State Association of County Auditors Legislative Committee, which I currently sit as the Vice President. He's looking for something along those lines as well. And after we've had an opportunity to work with him and show him the complexities that are associated with that, he is actually looking at using our county as a model for applying the percentages out there so they get a general idea. So I think we do try and provide as much transparency as we can. And when individuals have questions, either someone in my staff or myself talk to them and try to explain the differences.
Let me
and
ask
provide.
you, it's kind of, it's an interesting idea in a sense, theoretically at least, right? I hear what you're saying. If you had to break this down,
Mhm.
do you know it's actually house by house,
No.
parcel by parcel?
No. What we could do is give the countywide percentage.
Yeah.
So each dollar that you pay, so say you pay $100, you could look at our countywide apportionment factor and say, well, that's how that $100 gets apportioned out initially. However, we have some after-the-fact adjustments that occur on that. Certain parcels may be in a tax rate area that's under the redevelopment. So a piece of that above the base gets pulled out and shifted off.
I mean, in theory, could you take an individual parcel and assign it and come up with enough calculations and come up with percentages with all the different ones? I'm just curious.
I think we might be able to. I'd have to look at all the pieces that we shift out of there. But because we do what's also called a Assembly Bill 860 shift from county and cities back to the Educational Revenue Augmentation Fund, that does not have a parcel breakdown associated with it. So we'd probably have to leave that piece
You'd have to
out.
prorate it back.
Yeah, we'd have to find a way to estimate that piece.
So this is nice in theory, but would be very tough to do in practice.
Very costly, probably.
I disagree.
Why do you disagree?
Because he just said in the website, they just put, okay, they put a rate and then say, okay, this is the percentage. And then they put a disclaimer, this is only a percentage. So we're just giving you a percentage, but this is not how we calculate it because we take with the other limitations. So then why, in accounting, in auditing, we're always using formulas. You can take anything, subtract whatever, and then exclude so much and still come up with how much somebody owes. How do you calculate the tax rates? How do you, the same thing, I mean, we have all this.
The tax rates are computed very differently.
Right, but we have certain, you come up with the rates. They use whatever it's levied and so forth, and then they come with the rate and apply it on assessed value, come up with an amount. You can then you come with 1%, the same thing. You exclude whatever you're excluding. You can exclude from the global amount and then reapportion or make the adjustment and then come up with an amount. What I'm asking is that the taxpayer wants to see in dollars, not percentages and tax rate area. They have to find out if you give a pass a number, then you know what tax rate it belongs to. You can incorporate that information. It's already in the database, in the server. You just have to make it interactive so that the public can just put in their address, and then the formulas or the calculations you're talking about, they are already in the system, in the table, and then the system comes up with an amount. It's straightforward.
Sounds very nice, but I would disagree. The best that we could do would be to give an approximation, because there's other calculations that aren't tied back to the individual parcel that we'd have to move out.
I'm okay with an approximation. You can do an approximate. Okay, you can say this is an approximate. At least it's a dollar amount. You cannot guarantee it, but at least it's something is better than.
So, you suggested that there's a transparency problem. What's the problem? I mean, you've got this idea on this.
So this is one of it.
But what are
And then the other issues. Okay.
I've never found that I've had problems getting information. I know, are others having problems getting information?
Okay, because but from talking to other staff groups and union members and other workforce groups, they say, okay, like when they are in negotiation with the county, so the county will get the information and then they will just display that they are really in a very bad financial position, and they don't display that. And then after whatever the negotiation, they come up and say, okay, well, we have been approved now, our AAA ratings and so forth. But during negotiations, they will just do not
What does
discuss.
that have to do with the auditor's office?
But I'm just talking about in terms of reporting. So the auditor compiles the information from all the departments and presents the financial position of the county as it is. So, and that information is also supposed to be given to the Board of Supervisors, so that, and also displayed to the public, so that the information, the public has the same information that he's looking at, that the staff is looking at, so that we're all on the same page.
What information, I mean, most of the budget information is used in negotiations. Comes out of the CAO's office, doesn't it?
It comes out of the CA's office, but then there are computations that when you talk about other factors that you include and that they're not displayed.
I mean,
so the other
his
things.
office isn't involved with the negotiations.
It's not, but it's involved in generating the information that is sent to the public, that is displayed to the public.
So, let me get this straight. Are you saying that his office is somehow distorting that information so that they can have negotiations and then at the end that it suddenly isn't? I'm not sure what, you're not making your point to me, what the problem is.
Okay, what I'm saying is the information is not put out in the simplest form so that anybody who is not an accountant can understand it and they can easily use it.
A lot of this information isn't simple. That's been my experience, at least. I don't know.
But it can be simplified. That's what I'm saying.
Probably right.
Well, we do provide all the financial data to county staff via our internet. They have access to all the general ledger accounts, all the revenue and expenditure accounts. The only thing that we hold back is certain privileged information as it may relate to an individual, some of their private information that is excluded. Otherwise, all that information is out there. So if somebody wanted to, and I'll use an example that we dealt with the unions over the last couple of years, the Tax Losses Reserve Fund. That information is right out there on the intranet. It shows exactly what our position is. They've come in and they've asked for information about it. And I've explained to them why I feel that we don't want to drop this particular fund down to its statutory minimum. It is there to cover delinquent taxes, and we need to make sure that we have sufficient funding in that fund to cover those delinquent taxes. And I know they have not been happy with that answer, but I believe it's the most prudent thing to do. When somebody calls and asks for information, the staff's general direction on that is treat them the way you'd like to be treated. If somebody's asking for information and it's public information that we can provide, we are to provide it. And if it's questionable, those get routed back through administration, and a lot of times back up to me. And if it is questionable, we'll check with county council to see if it's something that we can or can't provide. If not, we would provide an explanation of why we couldn't provide a certain piece of item, information. But in general, what we have is public information unless it's otherwise specifically identified. We would treat it as such.
Okay, well, we're gonna make it, we're just gonna ask you guys to each take a minute or two and sort of summarize what we should take away from this discussion. And Bob, you wanna go first? What do you want us to take away from all of this?
What I'd like for you to take away from this is my years of experience within the Auditor-Controller's office, my years of experience actually supervising and managing divisions within the office of the Auditor-Controller. The last little bit over 3 years as the Auditor-Controller. Like I said, I'm in my 4th year now as the Auditor-Controller. The experience that I've gained through those processes, the knowledge that I have, and the fact that my door is open to staff if they have issues. My door is open to the public if they want to come in and talk to me. My door is open to the other departments if they have ideas or suggestions on how we could better provide. And all that is done within the limitations that were given in terms of our budget and our current financial position. I would say that we've worked very diligently over the last few years to position the county better fiscally, so that even though we don't have money coming out our ears, we are not in a situation where we are trying to stave off bankruptcy, and that although we still have significant debt and liability out there, that we are much better off today than what we were years ago.
I'd like to point out that you asked him a question about whether I was elected last time. He said he was unopposed, and that's the culture I am running to kind of put a stop to. I'm trying to empower the voters to have a choice, so they can choose who their next Auditor-Controller is going to be, as opposed to somebody who is appointed. So it's a well-known fact that some things had to be done so that only one candidate would be on the ballot. There were 4 other candidates who were qualified, who wanted to get on the ballot, but because of the tricks saying and
What tricks were those?
that were played, so somebody said was not retiring, and then the other people who were supposed to get on the ballot were discouraged from getting on the ballot, and then at last minute he got his name on the ballot, and the other guy retired, so nobody else could get on the ballot.
I'm trying to remember, wasn't it pretty well known?
No, it wasn't.
It was known to us.
It was known that he was on the ballot?
No, it was known that Steve was retired.
Yes, but then he said he told people he wasn't retiring. People wanted to get on the ballot. I have people, some even who were in the department there, who wanted to get on the ballot, but they were told he's not retiring. But
Okay,
then he ended up retiring.
But when he didn't get on the ballot, they had the opportunity to get
No,
on.
at the last minute. At
He's
the
an
last minute.
incumbent. You have 3 more days.
At the last minute, yeah. But anyway, so that is something you can research, and then
Well, look, here's the thing I don't understand. As Dan points out, the election laws are pretty clear. For an incumbent opts not to run, just to avoid exactly this very thing, the filing period is extended another 5 days.
That's 5 days.
It's not a lot of signatures to gather. It's publicly known on a Friday afternoon. They have until the end of the business on the following Wednesday. So the law is specifically written, the election law, so this isn't an issue. It's just,
okay.
you're gonna have to give us more than that.
Okay, so it's
You know, the law is written so that this doesn't happen.
okay.
And my memory, and I'm sorry, I'm working from memory, but I think it was pretty well known at the time that Steve was retiring, wasn't it? I mean, I think we knew it, I think,
He may have some information that he may share with you about that. But anyway, so the point is,
I don't think it was a big secret, is I guess what I'm saying.
okay, I agree with. Let's go with what you just said. So, but the point is, and he's my friend, so I'm giving him a chance to get ratified, so that he has somebody opposing him, so that way he'll get elected. If he gets elected, so that won't be an issue. It won't be said of him that that's what happened. But again, so I would like the voters to look at my experience and my 28 years of fiscal management and accounting experience, and my MBA in finance, my BBA in finance and accounting, and my 18 years of military service as a supply officer dealing with logistics, finance, and budgets of all sorts of things, so that I can bring that experience and training to the county and help the county to be fiscally responsible.
Folks, thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
You're welcome.
We appreciate it.